Chapter 121. Kirlia, surrounded by light, is slowly changing its shape. Kirlia, who was the size of a little girl, was slowly becoming as big as an adult human. After a few seconds, Kirlia stopped glowing and showed her new shape to the world. Pokemon. Gardevoir. LV. 35. Type. Psychic, Fairy. Abilities. Telepathy. Gender. Female. Potential. Deep Gold. Move. Growl, Confusion, Double Team, Teleport, Disarming Voice, Lucky Chant, Magical Leaf, Heal Pulse, Draining Kiss, Psychic, Imprison. Innate Talent Disable E. Innate Talent Calm Mind E. Innate Talent Dazzling Gleam E. TM Protect, TM Shadow Ball, TM Will-O-Wisp, TM Thunderbolt, TM Thunder Wave, TM Helping Hand. Gardevoir, who started to open her eyes, looked at Alex, who felt indescribable. She could feel the messed up feelings of Alex, and she became a little worried about that. She felt joy, worry, sadness, pride at the same time from her father, which would best describe his mixed feelings. She walked in the direction of her father and hugged him like she has done so many times. Alex saw how Gardevoir hugged him like when she was little and could hardly suppress his emotions. It reminds him of when he told Ralts that she can always hug him. Although he wanted to start crying, he managed to suppress his feelings. He started to suppress the sad thoughts and stroked Gardevoir's hair like he has done many times. Although she was now almost as tall as Alex, Alex could still stroke her head relatively easily. Gardevoir felt Alex's hand on her head and gave a slight smile as she said, "Father, I'm grown up already." Alex, who heard this, shakes her head and said, "No, you will always be my little daughter, no matter how old you are." Gardevoir showed a pout expression but was internally happy about Alex's statement. The little worry that her father no longer likes her after her evolution was completely gone, as if it was never possible. After the exchange with Alex, the other Pokémon also come to Gardevoir to congratulate her successful evolution. Even Scizor and Crobat say a few warm words to her. Although the two seem relatively cold, the feelings the Gardevoir can feel from these two Pokémon are not insignificant or small. Alex, who saw this, was not surprised that the Gardevoir was so popular with each of his Pokémon. She has so many good qualities that it is normal for her to be so popular with other Pokémon. As his Pokémon talked to each other, Alex thought about the new strength of Gardevoir. Kirlia, who had successfully evolved to Gardevoir, is now many times stronger than previously. Kirlia, with a total base stats of 278, is really not a strong Pokémon species. Compared to Gardevoir's 518 total base stats, Kirlia is really a good deal weaker. Especially if you include the increase in special attack from 65 to 125, this evolution is especially important for Gardevoir's strength. In addition, Gardevoir's potential has improved successfully, which makes her the Pokémon with the best potential in Alex's team. He also noticed that Gardevoir can now do the move Imprison, which may be useful for him later. Although this move is likely to have similar restrictions as the Disable or Taunt, it is probably still useful at times. Alex took a Pokeball and caught the Victreebel that Gardevoir had defeated. Of course, he still healed Victreebel's wounds before he caught him. Now that he can stay on this island for only 25 days because of the auction, it is now worthwhile to catch every silver Pokemon he can. He no longer has to worry about having not enough food to feed every caught Pokémon because he won't stay on this island that long. Alex, who was just thinking, suddenly noticed that it was slowly getting darker. He looked at the sun that slowly went down and said, "Gardevoir, teleport us to our camp." Gardevoir nodded and teleported Alex and his Pokémon to the camp where they slept last night. Area 1 #. Danger level: Green. Pokémon leader: Mid-Elite Butterfree, strong, but does not attack trainers unprovoked. Rare Pokémon: none. Rare items: none. When Alex and his Pokémon were teleported in Area 1, Alex immediately opened his TRH device and started setting up his camp. Alex and his Pokémon always sleep in Area 1 and teleport back when it's morning. The reason Alex sleeps here is pretty simple. It's very safe here. Although the Pokémon are very strong in this area, they never attack trainers unprovoked, which makes it very safe. In addition, almost only berry eaters live in this area, which makes it particularly safe again. Besides, after sleeping here he can teleport back to the area where he was last time so that he doesn't even lose time to sleep here. Alex, who finished building his camp, looked at his Pokémon and started calling everyone except Crobat back to the Pokeball. Crobat nodded to Alex and flew to the tree above Alex's tent to get a better range with his perception ability. Alex, who knows that he is protected by Crobat, starts to fall asleep. Chapter 122. In the early morning, Alex starts to get up slowly. As always, he starts to get his Pokémon out of their Pokeballs before he does something else. After that, he starts to prepare breakfast for him and his Pokémon. Alex's Pokémon that come out of their Pokeballs greet each other and start talking to each other a bit as Alex prepares breakfast for them. Torchic is the first to run to Gardevoir and speak loudly to Gardevoir. Big sister, I had such a great dream yesterday. I was a strong and beautiful Blaziken who defeated the strongest Pokémon there is in the world. Gardevoir, who heard the excited words of Torchic, said with a smile, "Oh really, that sounds pretty impressive. Although it's just a dream, I think that you will definitely become a strong and beautiful Blaziken like in this dream." Torchic expressed an excited expression at Gardevoir's statement and said, "Really, big sister? That sounds great. I can't wait to become a strong and beautiful Blaziken." Gardevoir just smiled softly when she said, "Yes, I really believe that. By the way, which Pokémon did you defeat in your dream?" Torchic smiled as she innocently said, "Of course the future strongest Pokémon will be a Pokémon from our family, which is probably Scizor before I defeat him." After saying that, she gave a nervous smile as she quickly said, "Ah, of course big sister is very strong too." Gardevoir just smiled softly and began to stroke Torchic's head when she heard these words. Scizor and Crobat, who also heard the conversation, showed different expressions of Torchic's statement. Scizor showed a proud expression and Crobat showed an annoyed one. Crobat, who saw Scizor's proud expression, said, "What are you so proud of, you grilled tongs? Do you really think that a dream will make you the strongest Pokémon in this group?" Scizor just smiled when he said, "No, but maybe that I beat you up last time makes me the strongest Pokémon." Crobat, who heard this, said out loud, "What are you talking about? You only won because you were a little lucky and not because you were stronger." Scizor gave a disdainful expression when he said, "It was clear that you loser would use excuses for your defeat. That doesn't surprise me a bit. Shut up your pile of scrap or I'll send you flying. Try it, you fat bat." Alex, who was following the conversation through the telepathy of Gardevoir, showed a small smile when he got an idea of this topic. "Hey Scizor and Crobat, just shut up, I want to say something." Scizor, Crobat, and the other Pokémon stopped talking and waited for Alex to say something. "Since many of you have become much stronger now, I thought about doing something else in today's training exercise." When Alex saw the confused expressions of his Pokémon, he said out loud, "Welcome everyone, to the Alex Tournament number 2. After the massive success of the first tournament, the organizer decided to host another tournament. Today we have 4 incredibly strong Pokémon fighting for the second trophy in this important tournament. In Participant Box 1, we have the defending champion Scizor, a melee monster that is fast, skilled, and deadly. In Participant Box 2 we have Crobat, a skilled assassin and one skillful all-rounder who hosts many different types of attacks. In Participant Box 3 we have Ditto, a master of transformation and a skilled fighter. In Participant Box 4 we have Gardevoir, a beautiful and strong fighter. She has supernatural skills and superior intelligence, which makes her the favorite of the audience." Quote. Scizor, Crobat, and Ditto look at Alex with different emotions. They felt as if Alex wasn't completely fair with the introduction. Torchic looked excited and started to cheer loudly. Shieldon was also looking excited, even if he wasn't cheering as loudly as Torchic. Alex also thought about letting Shieldon take part in this tournament, but after a bit of thought, decided against it. He doesn't think Shieldon can really win against one of the 4 Pokémon in a fight. Maybe in the next tournament where he is already in his final form is it possible and makes sense for him to participate. Scizor looked at Crobat and Gardevoir and said, "Am I imagining this, or was the speech much longer than the last time?" Crobat said thoughtfully, "Yes, you are right. He made this joke a lot longer this time." Gardevoir said with a gentle smile, "Big brother, why do you mind such a harmless little joke so much? Don't you see how happy Torchic is?" Scizor and Crobat look at the cute Torchic jumping excitedly and couldn't refute the words of Gardevoir. After a few seconds of thought, Alex told the tournament tree to the contestants. Scizor vs Ditto. Final. Versus. Crobat vs Gardevoir. Alex, who saw this tournament tree, could not say for sure which of these Pokémon will win this tournament. Although he has a guess who has the best chance, it is only a guess and can deviate. Like the last tournament where Alex thought the Crobat should win easily but unexpectedly lost the tournament. Chapter 123. Alex, who is the referee in this tournament, looked at Scizor and Ditto. He waited until both Pokémon were ready and gave the signal to start. Ditto immediately used Transform and surprisingly transformed into Gardevoir and not Scizor. Ditto, who can only transform into Pokémon that he sees at this point in time, was able to see Gardevoir relatively well, who was watching the battle, and therefore transform himself into a Gardevoir. Although Alex isn't sure whether it is allowed as to use Transform in a real tournament and if you can use it like that, he said nothing when Ditto was using the move like that. He doesn't think that it would be fair to ban this type of transform for Ditto just because it is probably not allowed in official tournaments. Scizor was slightly surprised that Ditto turned into Gardevoir, but he said nothing and started using agility. Although he had to admit that Ditto is not an easy opponent, Scizor wasn't really afraid to fight Ditto. He thinks the Ditto of the 4 participants is probably the weakest in 1vs1 fights. Ditto wasted no time and at the same time immediately started preparing Will-O-Wisp. Scizor, who had practiced the move agility a bit, was a bit faster and managed to use his move shortly before Ditto's move was done. After not even a second, Ditto used Will-O-Wisp, and Scizor, who wasn't sure he could avoid this move, used Protect. Ditto, who saw that Scizor had blocked his attack, showed no expression and began to prepare Will-O-Wisp again. Ditto knows how much interference and harm Will-O-Wisp can inflict on a Pokémon that is weak against fire through Alex, who explained to him that even status moves do more damage if they are used against Pokémon that are weak against this type. Scizor, who knows that too, knew that he had to quickly find a way around this move before he was crippled by this move. He quickly prepares his next move. Ditto, who was done preparing his next Will-O-Wisp, immediately used it against Scizor, who was using the move Substitutes at the same time. Substitutes in this world function like a second skin that can absorb small amounts of damage. Although this move is not very popular in this world, Alex, who played the Pokémon games, knows how useful the move can be. Alex explained a lot of his tactics to his Pokémon and of course, also explained the peculiarities of the move that the Pokémon can use in great detail. Will-O-Wisp, who hit the second skin of Scizor, did not start to burn directly as it usually did immediately, but began to slowly go out when he made contact with this surface. Ditto, who saw that Scizor found a good way to avoid his best move in this fight, knew that he had to find another way to win. Unfortunately, Ditto's moves aren't on the expert rank like Gardevoir's moves are, with making it impossible to use a move like Disable now. Although Disable can also be used when it is not on the expert rank, the restrictions are too great to be able to use it now. Alex thought it was a shame that Ditto was 2 levels lower than Scizor and therefore couldn't use the move. Ditto immediately started preparing the move Calm Mind. At the same time, Scizor began preparing Sandstorm. Ditto, who has now successfully strengthened himself, was surrounded by a small sandstorm that lightly disturbs his eyesight. He ignored the sandstorm and started using Calm Mind again. Scizor uses the time to use Razor Wind against the ground and slowly uses the dust to make the sandstorm completely opaque for Ditto to see through. Ditto, who used Calm Mind twice, was not afraid that he might not see Scizor and started preparing Thunderbolt. Alex, who saw this, knew why Ditto didn't care that he couldn't see Scizor. Ditto, who transforms into Gardevoir, not only has access to the moves but also to the sense of the Pokémon. Gardevoir, which is a Psychic-type Pokémon, is very good at discovering other Pokémon as long as they are not much stronger than them and it's close enough. Psychic-type Pokémon can even detect Ghost-type Pokémon that can hide in shadows as long as the Ghost Pokémon is not much stronger than the Psychic-type Pokémon is, can it detect Ghost Pokémon. In comparison, Scizor Sandstrom isn't much better than a Ghost Pokémon for Gardevoir's sense. Scizor, who thinks he's safe in this Sandstrom, started using Agility. Ditto, who knows the positions of Scizor, uses Thunderbolt and hits Scizor on the head, who was not expecting this attack. Scizor's Substitutes was broken instantly and Scizor was vulnerable again. Scizor, who was confused about why Ditto could hit him, knew that he didn't have time to think, and immediately started running in the direction of Gardevoir. With the reinforcement of the move agility, Scissor's racing speed is very fast. While running, he also started using the move Metal Claw. Ditto, who felt that Scissor was running quickly in his direction, began to use Teleport and teleport to the edge of the arena. Then he immediately starts using Thunderbolt again. Scissor, who understood Ditto's strategy, started chasing after Ditto. Every time Ditto teleports away, he runs again after Ditto. Scissor, who often saw Gardevoir's fights, knows that Ditto can't use this move very often, and because of the high speed he can sometimes dodge Ditto's attacks. Although he is sometimes hit by Ditto's attacks, the damage is not very high. He also uses Roost when running to heal himself a bit. Ditto felt that he was slowly running into a wall and knew that he had to change his strategy, but after thinking about it for a long time, he just couldn't think of a good option. After not being chased for not even 1 minute, Ditto couldn't use the move Teleport and had to try to fight Scissor. Scissor, who is very fast than other Pokemon, was able to force Ditto's teleport much faster and was able to consume Ditto's teleport much faster. Although Scissor was hit several times by Thunderbolt and had lost around 35 horsepower percent, he still had more than 40 horsepower percent left substitutes used. But Ditto, who still had 90 HP percent, Sandstorm, was not happy about this fact. He knew that move Teleport is more important as HP points for most psychic Pokemon. Ditto, who knew that he now had to hope for a crit, began to prepare for his next attack. Scissor, who had finally used up all of Ditto's teleports, quickly ran towards Ditto and started using Metal Claw. Ditto uses Thunderbolt again and hits Scissor. Scissor ignored the pain and used Metal Claw along with the speed he had built up while running. Ditto, who is a Gardevoir, was thrown 5 meters away and suffered a lot of damage. A move on the expert rank together with the accumulated speed is no joke when it hits. Gardevoir Ditto, who is not a Pokemon with good defense values and gets double damage from steel moves, suffers a big wound. Ditto, who was hit, began to bleed heavily and had hardly any HP, 25% left. Scissor quickly tried to end the fight and used Metal Claw again. Scissor knows that Metal Claw is faster than any move Ditto can use, so that he has no concern about what Ditto can do. Ditto, who knew he would be unconscious when hit by this move, quickly used Protect. To Alex's surprise, Scissor broke through Ditto's Protect and met Ditto, who had barely any HP left. Although the attack was severely weakened, it was enough to defeat Ditto. Alex, who saw that Ditto is unconscious, quickly ran to Ditto to heal him. Chapter 124. Ditto, who has now transformed back after he passed out, had many small wounds on his body. Alex wasted no time and started to heal Ditto with a super potion that he pulled out of his TRH device. Ditto, who is back in his senses after a short time, showed a slightly sad expression that he had lost the fight against Scissor. That was one of the rare moments when Alex didn't see Ditto's standards emotionless face and can really read emotions off his face. Alex knew how important this fight was to Ditto after seeing that Ditto was showing emotions and not hiding them like he usually does. He tries his best to compliment Ditto and cheer him up a bit. For 3 minutes, he only praised Ditto's performance and made it sound as if Scissor only won because of luck and Ditto deserved the victory more. Scissor showed a slightly annoyed expression when he heard Alex say sentences like, "If Scissor couldn't substitute, you would have easily won this fight," and sentences like, "Also Scissor is several levels higher than you, which is very unfair," but he didn't say to Alex clear biased statements. Although Alex exaggerates with his statements, they are not completely illogical and rather there to cheer up Ditto and not to reflect in a fair way. Alex, who saw a cute little smile from Ditto when he was finished, knew that his work wasn't in vain. Although he really had to work hard for 3 minutes to quickly come up with compliments, this hard work was worth it if Ditto is feeling a little better now. Although Alex doesn't agree 100% with the statements he told Ditto, the statements that he told Ditto to have a good piece of truth in them. For example, the fact that Ditto would have won if Scissor couldn't substitute is not unrealistic. Although Alex thinks that the fight would be more like 50-50 if it really was that Scissor couldn't do substitutes and not a 100% win for Ditto as he said. After 5 minutes, Alex went back into the area and waited until Gardevoir and Crobat were ready. Gardevoir and Crobat nodded and Alex gave the signal to start. Crobat wasted no time and quickly began to fly in the direction of Gardevoir while he prepared cross poison. Gardevoir prepares Thunder Wave while Crobat flies towards Gardevoir. After just a few seconds, she was using the move Thunder Wave. Surprisingly, Gardevoir used her move first even though Crobat's move was prepared much faster. Although Crobat has prepared Cross Poison first, he cannot use it because Gardevoir is still too far away and therefore not within the range of attack. Crobat, who was just flying in the direction of Gardevoir, found it difficult to avoid the move and was hit by Thunder Wave. Although Crobat was hit by the move and thereby he was a good deal slow while flying, he did not show any nervous expression. After less than 1 second, Crobat was in attack range, which he committed to use immediately. He's using Cross Poison and Gardevoir, who doesn't want to be hit by it, uses Fast Protect. Alex thought that Gardevoir might have used Protect a bit too early, even if she is weak against poison moves. Afterward, Gardevoir used Teleport to teleport out of range of Crobat. Although the use of Teleport is easy for Gardevoir, it also takes more than 1 second to use so that you cannot avoid the attack of Crobat who was so close if you do not prepare it beforehand. Crobat, who was expecting this, quickly began to prepare for his next move. Alex, who saw the Crobat stop chasing Gardevoir after being hit by Thunder Wave, looked pleased. He is very satisfied that the Crobat understood how he can best use his advantages and no longer underestimated his opponents like him in the last tournament. Gardevoir immediately started preparing a move a little later. Although preparing a move this late when Crobat is in the middle of preparing it is a bit risky, she still started using Calm Mind. She was sure that her expert rang move would finish quickly enough to give her enough time to use Teleport to avoid Crobat's move. Crobat was done with his move after Gardevoir was just half done with her move and started sending a large ball full of shadows towards Gardevoir with a very quick pace. Alex, who saw the speed of Crobat's shadow ball, showed a satisfied expression. He knows that of all moves all his Pokémon can do, Crobat's shadow ball is the move with the best move mastery. Although the move is only expert rank like many other moves of his Pokémon, this move is still a bit better trained than the other moves of his Pokémon. Maybe only Scisor's Roost has similar move mastery. Although Gardevoir was more than 50 meters away, the shadow ball flew very quickly in the direction of Gardevoir who is currently using Calm Mind. Fortunately, she can still move so it is still possible to avoid this move. Gardevoir quickly began to take an evasive step, but failed to completely avoid the attack and was hit. She took great damage and lost more than 35% HP from that one move. Gardevoir did not show an annoyed expression that she was hit by this move. She knew that she could avoid this move next time when she was prepared for it. Crobat didn't show a happy expression when he barely hit Gardevoir, but a thoughtful expression. Chapter 125. Gardevoir knew that she could probably dodge any attack at this distance if she was ready for such an attack and began to use Calm Mind. Crobat showed no happy expression after that successful hit. He knew that only hits because he had successfully surprised Gardevoir and nothing more. He started preparing for Swift when he saw Gardevoir start reinforcing with Calm Mind. Gardevoir's Calm Mind on the expert rank finished first and she started using Calm Mind again. Her plan was pretty simple, reinforce yourself with Calm Mind while Crobat can't do anything and then defeat him with Psychic. Although this plan is simple, it is very effective and well thought out. Crobat uses Swift and begins to prepare Swift again while the attack flies relatively slowly towards Gardevoir. Swift is a very strange move in this world because it works like a guided missile and chases a target even when the target is moving, making it almost impossible to avoid that move. Another special feature of this move is that it gets faster and faster the longer it flies, which makes it impossible for even very fast Pokémon to run out of this move with only speed. The only way to avoid this move that Alex knows is either to go out of range, depends on the move mastery of the move, or to block the move with, for example, a tree or another Pokémon. Unfortunately, Alex has used a straight surface with no hindrance as a fighting surface, which makes it impossible for Gardevoir to avoid this move in this way. Gardevoir, who knew that she could not avoid this move, did not move and began to use Calm Mind. She was hit by Swift, but it looked to Alex that she had not taken much harm from that hit. Alex thinks that she probably hasn't lost 10% of her HP from this hit. Gardevoir, who saw the Crobat preparing another move, knew that the Crobat would very likely want to use Swift again. She gave a small smile as she prepared her next move. Gardevoir, who started preparing her move a little later than Crobat, managed to finish her move first. She doesn't wait and uses Disable on Crobat, who was about to finish preparing his next Swift. Gardevoir didn't waste any time and began to prepare Calm Mind again. Crobat, who suddenly felt that his preparation was interrupted and that he could no longer use this move, knew immediately what had happened. As a big brother of Gardevoir, he knows of course that Gardevoir has the move Disable on the expert rank. He didn't show an annoyed expression but a malicious smile as if he had foreseen it. Crobat's smile reminded Alex of a supervillain who successfully tricked the hero. Crobat flew in the direction of Gardevoir, which is at the edge of the combat area. The fighting area was marked by Alex before the fight so that the Pokémon can easily see where they are allowed to fight. The area is about 80 meters long and wide, which makes it as big as the area of the Kanto Rookie Tournament. Crobat, who was only about 25 meters away, suddenly stopped flying in the direction of Gardevoir and started preparing his next move. Gardevoir, who saw what Crobat was doing, did not understand why he only flew up to 25 meters. Although it makes it much easier to chase after she teleports away, 25 meters is a bit too short to be able to safely hit Gardevoir when it is prepared to evade. She was using Calm Mind and felt that she was amplified to the maximum. Gardevoir, who knows that 25 meters are not a very safe range, began to prepare teleport in order to expand a large distance from Crobat. Better safe than sorry. Although she can only increase the distance to ca. 55 meters, it is better than 25 meters for her fighting style that prefers medium and large distances. Crobat, who was done with the preparation of his move, to the surprise of Gardevoir, did not use Shadow Ball or another attacking move but the move Mean Look. The move Mean Look that was used could not be avoided by Gardevoir and prevented Gardevoir from moving away from Crobat. Alex, who has already tested this move sufficiently, knows that Teleport cannot be used if the Pokémon concerned is hit by this move. Although Mean Look looks strong, in reality, it is not a particularly good move because the requirements for successful use are very difficult to meet. If Mean Look is not on the expert level, it can only be used on Pokémon that are lower in level than the user and not too far away from the user. In addition, the range depends on the level difference between the target and the user, so it is also relatively useless against Pokémon with only one level difference. This move is completely useless against Pokémon who have the same level as Crobat or are too far away from Crobat. Crobat gave a happy smile that looks very creepy to Alex as he started flying relatively quickly towards Gardevoir. Though Thunder Wave hit Crobat, it is still much faster than Gardevoir. While flying in the direction of Gardevoir, he prepares the move Cross Poison. Gardevoir, who saw that she was fooled by Crobat, showed a surprised expression. She didn't think she could be outsmarted by Crobat because she is the Pokémon with the highest IQ in Alex's Pokémon group. Although she doesn't think that she is better than the other Pokémon just because she has a higher IQ, she always thought that at least she couldn't be outsmarted by other Pokémon. She suddenly felt very naive about these thoughts. Alex saw how Gardevoir showed a surprised and confused expression and understood why Gardevoir was confused. He gave a sad smile when he thought, "Child, it's time to wake up." Although IQ is a good quality in Pokémon fighting, it is not as important as many trainers believe. Alex thinks that experience, the anticipation of the opponent, and creativity, etc., are much more important traits for a Pokémon than just IQ is. Gardevoir, who saw Crobat only 5 meters away from her, suddenly woke up from her thoughts and began to prepare for her next move. She knew that she should concentrate on the fight now and not stand around thinking about it. Crobat used Cross Poison and Gardevoir, who was not quite focused, was hit in the head. A critical hit. Gardevoir's head was bleeding profusely and had a nasty wound on it when she fell unconscious to the floor. Alex quickly ran towards Gardevoir with a worried expression and a hyper potion in his hand. He furiously yelled at Crobat when he treated Gardevoir even though he knew Crobat had done nothing wrong. For those who are interested in why Cross Poison did so much more damage than Shadow Ball, here is the explanation. Shadow Ball and Cross Poison are expert rank moves and therefore do a good deal more damage. Although it doesn't matter for the comparison, I want to mention it. Gardevoir gets 2x damage from Ghost-type moves and Poison-type moves, which are also relatively unimportant in this case. The damage difference comes from 2 reasons. 1. Stab increased Cross Poison damage by 50%. 2. Gardevoir has a bad defense value of 65 and a good SP. Def value of 115, which means that she gets more damage from physical type moves like cross poison. These are the two reasons why Gardevoir got a lot more damage from cross poison. Together with the crit, she couldn't withstand this move.